Yo, this ain't just rap gossip. This is federal smoke. The internet was already on fire after King Harris started running his mouth, hinting at hidden truths and secrets nobody was supposed to touch. Fans thought it was just another industry rant until things got real. Now rumors are exploding that the feds just pulled up on 50 Cent. Yeah, that 50. The same mastermind who built an empire, survived beefs, and outplayed everybody from the streets to the boardroom. And suddenly, raid talk, federal lights, mansion headlines. Coincidence? Or did King poke the wrong giant? You already know Rick Ross has been watching from the sidelines, probably laughing at the chaos. Because when 50's name gets dragged into drama, it never stays quiet. This is the same energy that turned rap beef into full-blown warfare. Careers ended over less. Social media detectives are connecting dots. Old interviews resurfacing. Subliminal shots. Cryptic posts. Industry insiders whispered that this ain't random. This is retaliation season. If this raid talk is real, the game just shifted. And if it's a cap? Then somebody's playing a dangerous marketing chess move. Either way, lines have been crossed. Because when feds enter the chat, this ain't just rap beef anymore. This is power. This is politics. This is survival. And somebody's about to get exposed. And somebody's about to get exposed. Because when the feds enter the chat, the whole temperature changes. This ain't Twitter fingers. This ain't clubhouse debates. This is real-world pressure. And when 50 Cent name starts trending next to the word raid, the culture freezes for a second. Not because people think he's weak, but because 50 don't move sloppy. This the same man who turned beef into business, who survived real-life chaos and still came out smiling. The same mastermind who flipped rap rivalries into TV empires. So when whispers start flying that federal vehicles were seen near his property, fans don't just scroll past that. They start connecting dots. And here's where it gets messy. Before the siren rumors, before the blog explosions, there was King Harris talking spicy, dropping hints, acting like he knew something the public didn't. The young lion stepping into grown man territory. And in hip-hop, that's always dangerous. Because this isn't just any industry. This is chess, not checkers. King been trying to carve his own lane, stepping out of his father's shadow. Yeah, we talking about T.I., a certified veteran who survived his own storms. But when you start throwing coded messages around about a heavyweight like 50, you better be ready for the aftershocks. The timeline went crazy. First it was laughs, memes, he clout chasing. Then it turned into debates. Wait, what does he know? Then suddenly, boom, raid rumors. Now the streets don't believe in coincidences. And what makes it even more layered? You got Rick Ross lurking in the background. The same Ross who's had a decade-long chess match with 50. That rivalry never really dies, it just sleeps. Every time 50 trends for controversy, Ross finds a way to smirk publicly. This is hip-hop history repeating itself. Young blood steps forward. OG watches quietly. Old rival circles like a shark. And the internet? The internet pours gasoline on everything. Let's be clear though, at this point, these are rumors. No official statements. No paperwork in hand. But in today's era, perception moves faster than facts. And perception alone can shake stock prices, partnerships, reputations. That's why this moment feels different. Because 50 built his brand on being untouchable. Calculated. Always 10 moves ahead. He trolls. He exposes. He laughs last. So if somebody is trying to flip that narrative and paint him as the one under pressure, that's psychological warfare. And if King Harris really believed he could spark something without blowback, he underestimated how power works at the top level. This ain't a mixtape beef. This ain't a club argument. This is influence versus influence. See, the younger generation sometimes forgets. The OGs survived eras where things weren't just tweets. They maneuver differently. They respond differently. And sometimes, they don't respond at all. Silence can be louder than diss tracks. But here's the wild part. The more people dig, the more questions pop up. Why now? Why this timing? Why right after those cryptic statements? Was it coincidence? Was it bait? Or was somebody testing boundaries? Because in rap politics, Timing is everything. And the timing here feels cinematic. Meanwhile, fans are split down the middle. Some riding for 50, saying this just another attempt to drag his name for headlines. Others saying where there's smoke, there's fire. That's how narratives get built. Not from proof, from repetition. And let's talk about pressure for a second. King Harris stepping into this arena isn't small. When your father is T.I., expectations already heavy. You not just representing yourself, you representing legacy. Atlanta royalty. A whole era of trap dominance. So every word carries weight. But when you mention 50's world, that's New York legacy. G-Unit history. Survival stories that shaped hip-hop business strategy. 2 different regions. 2 different mentalities. 1 volatile situation. And somewhere in the middle, Rick Ross watching like, I've seen this movie before. Because Ross knows what happens when 50 feels cornered. He doesn't panic. He calculates. He counters. And sometimes he embarrasses publicly. That's been his pattern. So now the big question is this. Was this all coincidence? Or did someone open a door they can't close? The blogs are eating. YouTube headlines going crazy. TikTok dissecting every facial expression from old interviews. Fans zooming into driveway footage like detectives. It's chaos. But the real ones know chaos can be weaponized. If you control the narrative, you control the battlefield. And 50 is known for controlling narratives. That's why people hesitant to believe he's caught slipping. Still, federal rumors attached to your name? That's not light work. Even if nothing sticks, the headline alone hits different. And King Harris? He's either about to learn a major industry lesson, or he's playing a bold, calculated gamble to skyrocket attention. Because let's be honest, controversy moves faster than talent in 2026 media. The danger is this. When beef escalates beyond music, it stops being entertainment. It becomes legacy-defining. Right now, nobody's dropped a diss track. Nobody's gone on a full rant. It's all subtext, all tension, all speculation. And sometimes that's worse. Because silence builds suspense. If 50 responds, it'll be surgical. If he doesn't, it might be strategic. If Ross jumps in, it becomes a 3-way circus. But one thing's for sure, the culture watching closely. Because this ain't just about a shirt. This ain't just about a young rapper speaking out. This ain't just about old rivals laughing. This is about power dynamics in hip-hop. Who can speak freely? Who moves untouched? And who gets checked when lines blur? And as of right now, the smoke is thick. The blogs are loud. And somebody's reputation is standing in the middle of a storm. That's where responses start forming. Where silence turns into statements. And where we find out if this was all noise. Or the beginning of a new rap war. Or the beginning of a new rap war. Because once the word war starts floating around hip-hop, everybody picks sides. Quietly at first. Group chats light up. Managers start making calls. Publicists go into damage control mode. And the artists? They watch. They calculate. Right after the storm of rumors hit, all eyes locked on 50 Cent. And what did he do? Nothing. No immediate rant. No explosive live stream. No panic tweets. Just silence. And that silence? It was loud. See, people forget. 50 built his brand on psychological pressure. He doesn't always swing first. Sometimes he lets the internet exhaust itself. He understands something most rappers don't. Attention has phases. First shock, then outrage, then confusion, then fatigue. If you respond at the wrong phase, you lose leverage. Meanwhile, King Harris kept trending. Interviews resurfaced. Old clips replayed. Every sentence dissected like it was a coded message. Was he exposing something? Was he clout chasing? Or was he just speaking freely without realizing the ripple effect? Because here's the reality. When you speak to a mogul, it's different. 50 isn't just an artist. He's in business. Television. Investments. Corporate rooms. When rumors attach to someone operating on that level, it's not just gossip. It's a risk. And risk makes powerful people uncomfortable. At the same time, you could feel Atlanta watching how this plays out. Because King isn't just a random name, he's the son of T.I. And T.I.'s legacy carries weight. respect, history. So now the tension isn't just generational. It's regional. New York energy versus Atlanta pride. And let's not act like that history is soft. Hip-hop remembers everything. Every subliminal. Every old interview. Every side-eye moment at award shows. Then enters the wild card, Rick Ross. Ross doesn't even have to say much. A smirk. A laughing emoji. A subtle post. That's all it takes for fans to interpret it as gasoline. Because Ross and 50 have a rivalry that's legendary. Long-term. Strategic. Petty. Calculated. If this situation escalates, Ross benefits just by proximity. And that's where it gets layered. Because sometimes in rap beef, the loudest player isn't the most dangerous one. The quiet observers can flip momentum at the perfect time. Back to the raid rumors. Still no official confirmation. No paperwork. No direct statement from law enforcement. And yet the narrative had already run wild. That's the era we live in. Headlines move faster than facts. But let's talk about perception again. Even if nothing happened, even if it's all smoke with no fire, the fact that people believed it for a moment, that's the impact. That means the narrative was believable enough to trend. And that alone shows how fragile reputation can be in the digital age. For King Harris, this could go two ways. Option 1. He becomes the young voice who dared to shake the table. The fearless next-gen rapper is not scared of industry giants. That's a powerful image for a new artist building relevance. Option 2. He becomes the example OGs use when they talk about moving too fast without understanding the room. Because hip-hop isn't just bars anymore. It's alliances. It's corporate partnerships. It's brand relationships. And once federal language enters the conversation, sponsors get nervous. You see how deep this goes? This ain't playground beef. This is chess played in public. And somewhere behind closed doors, conversations are happening. Lawyers advising silence. Advisors suggesting strategic posts. Friends saying, don't crash out. And through it all, 50 remains composed. That composure? It's either confidence or preparation. Because historically, when 50 finally responds, it's never random. It's a calculated humiliation. Receipts. Timelines. Screenshots. He doesn't just clap back, he narrates the entire situation in a way that benefits him. So fans waiting for an explosion might actually get something colder. Something more surgical. Now let's zoom out. Why does this moment feel bigger than a simple rumor? Because it represents a shift in power dynamics. The new generation doesn't move with fear. They move with visibility. They grew up watching OGs beef online. So to them, speaking boldly isn't rebellion, it's branding. But OGs like 50 came up in a different era, where words had consequences beyond comment sections. That experience changes how you move. So when do those two mentalities collide? Tension. And tension creates headlines. The culture right now is standing at a crossroads. Are we about to witness another legendary rap rivalry? Or is this just a viral moment that burns out in a week? Because let's be honest, not every spark turns into fire. But sometimes, all it takes is one response. One Instagram caption. One interview quote. One leaked message. And suddenly it's full-scale war. And don't forget, audiences love conflict. They analyze it like sports. They debate winners and losers before the first punch is even thrown. But behind the scenes, these are real reputations, real money, real legacies. If 50 chooses to ignore it completely, he maintains mystique. If he responds, he controls the narrative. If Ross inserts himself louder, it becomes entertainment gold. And King? This is the moment that defines him. Does he double down? Does he clarify? Or does he pivot and focus on music? Because in hip-hop, controversy can boost you, but only if you survive it. Right now, we're in the suspense phase. The calm before a possible storm. Fans refreshing timelines. Bloggers waiting for statements. Ops watching quietly. And the biggest question floating in the air is simple. Was this random chaos? Or was this the opening move in something much bigger? Because if history has taught us anything, it's this. When powerful names collide, the aftermath echoes for years. And if this really is the beginning of a new rap war, It'll be about responses. And that's exactly where the temperature shifts. Because rumors can spark curiosity, but responses create legacy moments. The culture waited. Hours felt like days. Every notification had fans thinking, this is it. And when you're dealing with someone like 50 Cent, you know a response isn't random, it's timed. Strategic. Precise. Then came the movement. Not a rant. Not a meltdown. A post. Calm. Slightly sarcastic. The type of energy that says, I see everything and I'm not pressed. And that right there? That's psychological dominance. Because when the internet expects chaos and you deliver composure, you flip the power dynamic. Suddenly the narrative changes from, is 50 in trouble, to, why is he so unbothered? That silence into subtle response combo? That's veteran energy. Meanwhile, King Harris is in a different position. The spotlight on him is brighter than ever. Interviews requests. DMs blowing up. Fans dissecting his every move. For a young artist, that kind of attention can feel like validation. But it can also feel like pressure. Because now it's not about what you hinted at. As a father and an industry veteran, he understands both sides. He knows what it means to defend your name, but he also knows the cost of unnecessary wars. Atlanta royalty doesn't move recklessly. There's legacy involved, family involved. So now the tension isn't loud, it's layered. And then there's Rick Ross. Ross doesn't even need to attack directly. His presence alone reminds the audience of history, of old rivalries, of unfinished chapters. Every subtle reaction from him feels like he's watching a chess match he's played before. Here's the twist though, no diss tracks drop. No explosive exposé surfaces. No confirmed federal case hits the table. And that changes everything. Because when the smoke clears and there's no visible fire, people start questioning the spark. Was it hype? Was it exaggeration? Or was it simply a moment inflated by the speed of social media? This is where perception becomes the real battleground. 50's brand thrives on control. He jokes. He trolls. He monetizes attention. And by staying composed, he subtly reinforces the image of being untouchable. That's powerful. In hip-hop, appearing invincible is half the war. King Harris, on the other hand, now faces the next challenge, longevity. Viral moments fade. The only thing that lasts is consistency. If he follows this with strong music, calculated interviews, and smart moves, this becomes a launchpad. If not, it becomes a footnote. And that's the brutal truth of rap beef in this era. It's no longer just about who's tougher. It's about who controls the narrative longer. The blogs eventually shift to the next headline. The timeline finds a new controversy. That's the nature of the machine. But the psychological impact? That lingers. Because every time King's name pops up now, people will remember this moment. Every time 50 trends, fans will recall how quickly rumors can spiral. And every time Ross reacts to anything remotely related, audiences will wonder if there's a deeper chess move in play. But here's the deeper lesson in all of this. Hip-hop has evolved. The battleground isn't just wax anymore. It's digital. It's perception. It's timing. And sometimes the most powerful move isn't a punch, it's restraint. Think about it. If 50 had exploded emotionally, headlines would have framed it as panic. If King had escalated recklessly, it could have turned into real hostility. If T.I. had jumped in aggressively, it becomes generational warfare. Instead, we got tension without destruction. And that's rare. Because modern rap culture feeds on escalation. But sometimes maturity is the most unexpected plot twist. Now, does that mean this chapter is closed forever? Not necessarily. In hip-hop, history has a funny way of resurfacing. Old comments get rediscovered. Old rivalries get reactivated, especially when pride is involved. But as of now, what we witnessed wasn't a full-blown war. It was a test of influence, a test of composure. A test of how far words can travel in the digital age. And in that test, everyone learned something. King learned that speaking boldly brings both spotlight and scrutiny. 50 reinforced that calculated silence can be louder than outrage. Ross reminded everyone that history never really dies in rap. And T.I.'s legacy proved that generational transitions come with friction. This wasn't about a shirt. It wasn't about a single rumor. It was about power, youth, and reputation colliding in real time. And maybe that's why it felt so intense. Because for a brief moment, it looked like the beginning of a new rap war. But instead, it became a masterclass in controlled chaos. The culture watched. The blogs feasted. The fans debated. And then, life moved on. But make no mistake, moments like this don't disappear. They sit in the archives, waiting. Because in hip-hop, respect is remembered. And so is tension. So is this the end? Or just a preview of future friction? Only time will answer that. But one thing is certain, when giants and rising voices collide, even rumors can shake the entire culture. Yo, now that you've seen the smoke, the tension, and the moves, it's time to decide where you stand. Don't just scroll past this. Don't just double tap like it's another story. This is the kind of heat that defines hip-hop history, and you gotta be part of the conversation. Drop your thoughts below. Who really holds the power? Is it 50 Cent with his veteran precision, calm and untouchable? Is it King Harris, the bold young lion stepping out of his father's shadow, testing waters that could make or break him? Or is Rick Ross lurking in the background, the quiet wild card reminding the culture that history always has a say? Share, comment, and debate. Make your voice heard. Because moments like these don't happen every day. They spark trends, they ignite discussions, and they teach the next generation what power, respect, and strategy really mean in this game. Hit that subscribe if you're following every twist and turn, because the drama isn't over. Every day brings new moves, new angles, and new surprises. And you don't want to miss the fallout. Turn on notifications so you're the first to see the latest updates, reactions, and inside takes straight from the streets and the studio. Engage with your crew, tag your friends, post your hot takes, and let the world know whose side you're on. This is more than beef. This is strategy. This is a legacy. And it's happening right now. So step up, speak out, and let's ride this wave together, because in hip-hop, every reaction counts and every opinion matters.